quick read for Pisces en route. All right, Pisces, what I'm looking at here is a lot of cards of anxiety, a lot of changes coming in for you in the month of September. What I want to say though is, I feel like even though this energy looks to be a little challenging right now, and again, this is energy that can always change, it is all about change. So it is going to change. So, what I'm going to start off with is just the general idea, and then we'll get into things more specifically and go from there. Anyway, looking at the card of lovers, I do feel like some kind of a union is, present here, or at least a connection. Could be business or otherwise, or a significant connection to you. It doesn't have to be lover's energy, but definitely one that you're disappointed in. And it certainly feels like you don't feel appreciated in some regard here. I feel like there's a lack of harmony going on in this particular union of sorts here. So either way, whether this is a level of disappointment in around not feeling good enough, not feeling strong enough, not feeling like you measure up, something like that is kind of coming through in the reading, and I feel like it's some level of disappointment that is starting to try to overwhelm you. And there's a certain sadness in regards to a connection here as well. Maybe you don't feel like you've got the support that you hoped that you would. But either way, I feel like you're going through some really heavy emotions here at this time. This is definitely, dealing with some difficult choices that you're about to make. And it certainly looks like you are really experiencing some grief or disappointment in how you're going to be moving forward to find this stable energy again, or this harmonious, period. But you've taken some kind of a loss, or you feel as though there's been some kind of a loss here for you. Again, not feeling like you've measured up and in a particular situation, and certainly it does have kind of a lack mindset around money, as well as kind of personally, how you might be viewing yourself at this time. But I do feel like you're looking at it from one perspective here, because what I see at the very end of this is there is abundance, and there definitely is some very strong maternal energy that could be coming through here. But right now you're kind of in a place of feeling like there's too many changes to make, or too much, that you're not really ready for at this point. And again, I'll go through this in a little more detail, but right now that's kind of where I'm feeling things are at. Your main energies out is you're really focused on a particular dynamic with a connection. That's the main energy. The lovers as well as the empress could be connected here to another energy here as well, or dealing with a mother, but either way, that is the main energy that I see here. And certainly there's something around abundance here. It could be a partnership as well. But either way, regardless, the point of the situation is this connection is causing you some distress. I do feel like either or, however it relates, and again, you're all at different timelines, making decisions at different times of the week or the month or whatever. So what I see for the month of September is that you are currently in an energy of feeling like you're not good enough, you're depressed, there's low sadness, like it feels like you just don't believe in yourself at this point, or you're feeling like you're losing control over something, or over your finances, or even over your own level of self-esteem. But either way, that self-belief is being questioned, and this is a difficult time for you. So again, whether you're feeling rejection or isolation, financial hardship, all of those things sort of come through with this kind of read. But either way, there's about to be some big changes coming through here in this next period for you. You do have the ability to change the situation. Obviously, you are making you're doing some kind of scrutiny over your options with the Seven of Cups. So I definitely feel like you are taking a look at your strengths, your abilities, trying to figure out what are the things you can let go of to sort of free yourself up. What are the alternative sources of income, that kind of thing. It's all sort of coming through. But either way, you are the magician here, or at least even though this is just a clarifier and not the main energy, it is still in that space of letting you know that you're being proactive. You do have a lot of options, and you may be trying to seek support, but you're not really feeling that you have that, because you're isolating yourself in some way, or in terms of your emotions, or you're hiding it because financially something is a burden, or you feel like you just don't have full control over a situation regardless. But again, and maybe there's some health issues that you're dealing with here as well. But either way, I just feel like you do have options. You're looking at it from a very negative point of view, however. You're not looking at things with an open mindset, because you're seeing the complexity and the challenge of the situation. You're not really looking at the things that you actually have belief in, or your strengths. you're too busy sort of focusing on the negative consequences versus the positive actions. And so, obviously, the way to overcome those challenges, is to create the life you desire based on what are your strengths and what are the things that you enjoy to do. And that's kind of a good direction to start with, right? But the magician is, you already have a lot of competencies, you already have a lot of abilities to get things moving, but you're sort of allowing yourself to wallow in this really heavy energy. Again, you do have a lot of challenges in terms of, your, again, finances, something about your level of self-belief, something about your actions seem thwarted in some way. You don't feel like you can act with any kind of power. There's a struggle here, in around, and this could be a power struggle as well. But either way, this is some kind of obstacle that stands in your way for sure. And it definitely speaks to more than one level of limitation, or that you see as a limitation. It's not to say that they are permanent for sure. I mean, this is just an intense conflict, or a period where you're just feeling like you just can't move forward. You're feeling trapped. But there is certainly a level here, like I said, of self-doubt, self-sabotage, limiting beliefs, negative thought patterns, kind of all of that space here. And I definitely feel like if you were to take a look at your options a little more in the positive, you'd actually, if you're vigilant about that, you'd realize that your struggles you're going to be able to break free from that energy. So you will be moving toward a more positive and fulfilling life, that kind of thing. So, but right now I do feel like you're conserving your resources, that kind of thing. That's the energy that sort of came out as more of an outcome card here as well. So when I look at the Seven of Cups, again, there's a lot of confusion around you. You're just not sure about, your choices or the options that are really available to you at this time. I feel like you're kind of lacking some focus, and you definitely have, you're not feeling like you can move forward with your actions. You're feeling overwhelmed, unfulfilled in this current situation. So, and able to get past that, of course, you're going to have to release some of this emotional baggage. And it is emotional that I see that seems to be coming up here. I do feel like there is a level of unsettled, direction about which path to take, as I mentioned, and it certainly does indicate that you're feeling like you're limited in how you can move forward, whether this is job, relationship, or a belief system. But it is suggested here that, you have maybe too many choices or things that you're trying to throw onto the plate, and maybe it's better just to focus on one. I did pull some other cards in terms of what would be the best advice for you as further out, but we'll get to that here in a second. So right now, what seems to be represented here is that you need to find a direction. You need to make a choice that is going to be authentic to you, and something that you really feel motivated to pursue, because something that's got to be fulfilling for you. I don't feel like you can do it any other way. Especially when I see the Empress card out here. So this is an opportunity, again, for you to become more self-aware and grow into this sort of unknown space. But there is definite change that's about to take place for you. I don't see losses. I feel this is all about negative mindset. Feeling, again, lack mentality. I feel like you're seeing consequences versus opportunities, more so the things that are unknown to you versus, the things that are known to you. I feel like you are looking to find a new direction in your life. That's where it sort of feels like you were headed. And this is a reminder that you do have some options here. You're just stuck in a very heavy mindset. Again, when we get to I'll kind of go through this. So that's just sort of the general energy, and then we'll just kind of feel it out. And of course, there are some more directional cards as far as advice further out. So the Lover's card is also that combination of need to make a decision. You need to make a decision. Something here is letting you know you're in a space where you're not sure what direction to take. And I think really ultimately you have a lot of viable options, a lot of things that are very good, very good considerations, but you're just so stuck in maybe this practical mindset that you're sabotaging yourself. Your lack of this procrastination, this level of procrastination, has really halted your advancement. You're taking a little too long to make a decision, and it's starting to hit you on an emotional level and on a self-sabotaging kind of self-belief lack mentality. So again, there's a decision to be made, a choice. There's a, some choice that has to be made here. And I see it all over the place because we are, you're looking at disappointment. You're looking at, and these are all, cards, levels of fives. Fives are all about change. And so you're definitely not seeing the one cup that's tipped over here. Or the one tip is, sorry, the one cup that you're seeing tipped over here is to the detriment of everything else. Like you're not really seeing anything else other than what's not available for you. Again, when we're looking at the fives, and we also have the 10 here as well, the 10 of wands, there's been a level of hardship that's really been a burden for you. And I feel like that 10 of wands means there's been a lot of exertion. There's been a lot of mastery in an area that again, you put a lot of time and energy into something, but it's shown no result for you. And I would still say that you're about to go through a period of transition, but again, you really need to change this mindset or you get more of what you're putting out. That devil energy is just a clarifier, but the fives, and because there's such a two fives is pretty significant. It's around your money and it's around your level of happiness. So those are pretty significant areas of your life, especially when you're dealing with a 10 of wands, feeling exasperated, like you don't know which way to turn. We also have all this lack of direction. You're really in a space where you have to make a choice now. I feel like that's, and whether this happens right away, again, maybe you need to do a little more exploration in terms of, but it's almost like you have to release something first. You have to release the emotional baggage that you're tying into all of this scenario here, because this is the Eight of Cups is you've got to walk forward. You've got to leave something behind. You're discontented with this present situation, and this is just a period of something having a natural conclusion. There's a bit of an ending here that needs to take place because you're burned out. You've completed a certain phase in your life, and you're ready for something new. And I feel like that there, even with the cards that I pulled as clarifiers, that's exactly what they spoke to. You're ready for something new. So maybe you're trying to hang on to the last ditch attempts at something, but it's telling you that you're really on a burnout phase of that and you're ready to let go, and embark on something new for yourself, a new path, and more in line with your current belief systems. There is a lot of insecurity, don't get me wrong, around moving into this, but when you start moving into something, it will help you to pull yourself out of the, this blue situation here, once you start with more momentum going forward. So I do feel like you really need to focus on this magician energy, even though you're not quite in it yet. But again, it's telling you have a lot of skill sets that you could draw upon, and you just need to push through with a little bit more direction here. And then those problems will sort of clear up spontaneously, or may appear to be. Because this is a really empowering card. The magician is somebody who has a lot of knowledge. This is somebody who has the ability to really use resources in a very wise way. So you definitely have a lot of things that you can open yourself up to. You're just stuck in this really negative energy. So knowledge is power is really the key here. And it definitely speaks to kind of, do you need to depart away from, invent some solutions here. This is really what the card speaks to. Invent the solutions. You have the skills, and whether you're using an old skill in a new way, something like that, it is definitely needing to break free in some really significant way, because that devil energy is coming through strong with all of this change, and it really tells me that you're not in a good headspace right now. Again, you're depleting your own resources. You're depleting your own power. This is destructive behavior. This is, attached to things, how things should be, feeling suffocated by those bondage, those attachments, whether this is being chained to an idea or a person or something along that line. Either way, it is something that you need to really take a look at and start to redefine, redefine maybe who you are as well, but it's also looking at things from another perspective, right? Because the devil is about looking at things from one area. It's really about looking at, I'm being tempted by something, I'm feeling restricted by something, I feel like I'm being overpowered, my fears are really in the way here, I feel like I'm trapped by helplessness and inertia and all of that kind of thinking. You feel like a slave to your own thinking. And especially too, when I see the Page of Swords, it's almost like you've done so much research or so much investigation into some things here with the Page of Swords, but you're still not acting on something. It's like you just, it's a level of analysis paralysis kind of thing here. So, like I said, Page of Swords is somebody who is willing to really get clear on an idea, and I think that's what's going to happen here. This is more the clarifying energy, so I don't feel like you're quite into that yet. Many of you may be sort of moving into this or transitioning soon, but either way, the Page of Swords is somebody who's really curious and definitely somebody who has the ability and the energy to really work through intellect, so they're really going to put their mind into something, either drawing contracts or looking at paperwork, negotiations, but you're going to use some kind of mental energy and tact in figuring out this situation. So it's almost like, look at your situation, could be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius as well present here. Look at your situation from the mindset of, almost pulling yourself back from the scenario to be able to negotiate with yourself. Instead of just weighing pros and cons, negotiate how you're transforming, because the Death card is a transformation. This is a definite, gotta leave something behind. I am becoming someone else. I am ready to create a new life for myself. I am ready for a transition, ready for a change. I want to slam the doors behind me, but there's still this identification that I'm still somehow connected to. Is you're clinging to an old situation. This is where you're trying to find a way to breathe again, but you have to let go of something that is probably quite familiar to you because you put a lot of time and energy and effort into it. So it's definitely something that's challenged you. And I feel like it's forcing you to make a difficult decision. And again, the letting go is hard because you do have to release the situation and able to transform. So this is the true meaning of metamorphosizing, is when you kind of awaken to your own immortality. It's all the things that you, feel that, what were your fears before? And why did you get into something that you did before, career or partnership or whatever, looking at those fears and then trying to revamp that into something new, because you clearly overcome a lot of those things in the past with all this magician energy, and this is now where you need to sort of take a look at how you're going to reinvent yourself. Like I said, that a lot of the cards here are just so challenging. I would say that you really have to make a choice. And again, it won't be easy, but it's certainly going to be, maybe it's a slow transition where you're having to let go of a little bit of something at a time before you can fully appreciate, where you are or what you have. But this connection is also quite relevant, and it feels like it's a very disappointing one, like I said. It doesn't feel like you've really gotten a lot out of it that has been satisfying. And I feel like it's really drawing on you more than it's advancing. Like, it's not even advancing. I mean, there is abundance coming through here, but even on a career basis, I just feel like this is the energy that you're trying to work into. How do I get myself back into loving myself again? Being in control of things. I mean, the fours certainly is an indicator that you're moving in that direction. You're maybe aware of the scenarios here and how they're playing out. I mean, that Four of Cups energy, like I said, or Five of Cups energy, is still really taking a look at the emotional disappointments and kind of weighing it out. How much time and energy did I waste on this scenario? How much, did it take away from me with this Five of Pentacles? I mean, I don't feel strong. I don't feel secure. I feel more confused. I feel like I'm really stuck I just don't feel like that's where, you're having to make some kind of decision. You're having to make a decision here. So again, this is still in that space of, it still feels like you have a lot of, you're pulling back your emotions, and I feel like you're dealing with things in a really practical way. It's almost like it's a slow disconnection. And still with that energy, even in terms of a career, it's not specific to a person. It still feels like your finances are kind of being held back. Like you're just really trying to be practical in your solutions right now. But I do feel like the path that you will be choosing will be one that's very beneficial, because you are the Empress is all about feeling like you're back on top. There's some beauty in your life again. There's some purpose. There's a sense of hope here. This is, where you're willing to invest in yourself again. And you value stability, I feel, as well, and you value those beautiful things, and those kinds of things are important to you. So I feel like whether it's a lifestyle, whether it's home, family, nurturing, caring, those are things that you don't want to let go of. Those are things you don't want to compromise on, and I feel like, once you choose you, basically, that's where you're going to start to see things kind of manifest and go in your direction. But right now, like I said, I mean, you're in that heavy mindset over here of feeling like you're just not enough, and of course that's going to take its toll on you until you really make a choice. But either way, the Empress is definitely a solid energy. Even when, again, even though this is just the clarifier with the Magician, it definitely speaks to, making a sound decision as well, feeling like you can move back into this space, but you have to choose you for sure, and this is being a lot more well developed and having a sense of purpose. All these cards, as far as the Magician and the Empress, your main cards out, again, the big major arcana is a connection. It certainly could be mother related energy, but it's the Empress, it's abundance, and it's this connection with the Lovers. So this is what's going on here. So the Magician is definitely about, effective planning is going on here, or you will be putting yourself into this mindset in pursuit of a particular goal that you want to meet. And again, seems to be around the emotional front, very much connected to the emotions and your abundance. Whatever this is, even if it's on a career path, it still feels like you need to be emotionally connected to this, whatever this is. And again, the relationship front seems to be very significant, but you are disappointed in this connection either way. So there's a lot of feeling of, describing yourself in terms of lack, like I said. So the Empress, like I said, this is where you want to live life to the fullest. This is where you are going to be living this life eventually once you make a decision. But this is what you're geared toward. And this does suggest some growth and progress in this month. But again, it's kind of toward the end or the latter portion of September. But I feel like this is strongly associated with, you loving you, and certainly making, taking your best interests at heart and able to look after you first. Prioritizing you, prioritizing your environment, prioritizing your stability, all of those kinds of things. It does indicate that you're going to be feeling a lot more confident. I wouldn't say it's more of a receptive energy, so it's more like things are coming into you, where you're starting to find some rewards in smaller things, maybe like family or, supportive. You're looking for more supportive relationships or solid foundations, that kind of thing. Either way, I just feel like you need to be in that space, and I think this is where you're going to be headed here by the end of the month. So just as a side note, like I said, the fact that you are in this space of, because if we were just to kind of get right back into the Lover's energy here, and again, that's still in around the disappointment here, with the Five of Cups, again, it just feels like you're in that space of feeling disappointed. There's a certain level of grief that you're having to work through, and maybe it's because you're sort of preparing yourself for the final decision, but either way, it's like you're in that level of emotion right now. So there's disappointment in trying to prepare yourself for this move that you'll have to make. And again, it will bring you into a level of harmony, but it's going to, right now it's pulling at you in terms of your finances. There's a lot of emotional grief. It's just too much and weighing on you too much emotionally, and it's really drawing on your peace. Again, once we get back down to the Magician, as well as that Five of Pentacles energy up here, this is where you're feeling more empowered again in some way. It's a little further out for most of you, but like I said, it is just the clarifier. But you're feeling trapped in a relationship, and you really need to change the current situation. And it's not just one card of a five. You've got two big changes coming through here, both financially as well as emotionally. So whether this is a situation that was drawing on you financially, I just feel like you are really going to be more empowered once you focus on your self-worth here. I definitely feel like things are going to change for you in terms of your finances, absolutely. But that's going to take a little bit of time because you have to make a choice first. And it feels like your day-to-day life, is where you're feeling most of this, lack of momentum, and bound to, just putting out too much energy. And I definitely feel like, as I said, I mean, you do have the Four of Pentacles here, so you're really pulled back. There's a wounded energy, but you're definitely exhausted by this scenario, whatever this is. So the Devil and the Five of Wands, like I said, you're really feeling bound by, a lot of the time and effort and the energy that you put into something. You are ready for something entirely new. And I just think you need to open the door here, like I said, whether it's a big crack to the open of the door or a little crack to the, you just want to make sure that you're trying to get rid of those harmful patterns of behavior and start to realize your own potential, right? This is things where you don't want to struggle with yourself to find your needs met through someone else. Or again, at the same token, you don't want to be struggling with a career path that's not giving enough back to you, that you're actually thinking of this big overhaul and change. It sounds like you're just ready for the change either way. So, you do the research, you do the things, and I feel like you've done a lot of that, or you've really weighed things out, because it's almost causing you so much more harm because you've stayed in this place of inner conflict for so long that it's, you're drumming up so much of the fears and the negative thoughts is going round and round and round. It's actually not allowing you to break free. It's become more of a pattern that's holding you back versus just a glimpse into, what was the problem. But it is kind of a warning here with the Devil card to, break free of those unhealthy patterns, and you've got to find a way to overcome your fears and lead your more positive life here. You do have options. The Seven of Cups really speaks to you do have the options. And again, there's a magician energy here. You have a lot of talents. You have a lot of things, a lot of goals, or a lot of things that you're making that one choice to get clear on, and you're just overwhelmed by which direction to go. Put the energy back into you, and whatever was in the background, partnership or otherwise, that will eventually come around if it's supposed to, or you'll have to set it free, whatever. But when you start focusing on you, other people will either fall away or they join you on the path. So, it's not up for you to make that decision for them. They either walk beside you or, they kind of follow in on their own journey. But right now you need to embrace new opportunities, and you've got some options here, and you do have skill sets for sure. So you do have something that you can, build something on in terms of your stability, because like I said, the final cards are the Empress as well as the Four of Pentacles. So, I mean, it's happening. It's just a suggestion. Like I said, the Seven of Cups is telling you, you need to find a direction to find the purpose in your life, and that purpose comes from knowing yourself. So this is all about kind of getting through the fantasies and the indecision and really taking a leap of faith, but also being aware that it's a difficult decision to let go of something, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean you don't make a decision, because it's more uncomfortable for you clearly to sit in the no decision zone, and once you are able to embrace the new you, or the part of you that says I am enough, I can love myself enough. There was some kind of Miley Cyrus song that I really liked that actually spoke to that as well, and it was about loving yourself. She can buy herself flowers, all of that, right? So I mean, it's the same sort of idea. You can discover yourself again and find new interest in yourself when you actually face the unknown and try to find a more fulfilling and meaningful life. And again, whether you're releasing a part of the emotional baggage and the other person is still in the background, just focusing more on you is going to allow you to bring yourself back into a more empowering place. So that's what I would say is going on there. Like I said, Four of Pentacles, this is where you will be sitting pretty again in terms of your finances. And this is for sure going to be a space where you're going to embrace more stability, because the Four is for sure discipline, foundation, and is planning. And it's definitely stable, solid background, that kind of thing. So, like I said, Four of Pentacles, I mean, it's a really good money card as well overall, and it's right beside the Abundance card. So whatever path you choose here in terms of you is going to really give back to you. And I feel like you'll be satisfied with the choice. So again, narrow down the choice, but it's definitely, you're not really wanting to let go of a situation, and you are clinging to it. You're guarding yourself, absolutely. But this is where you're going to be able to kind of break free again. Once you make the choice, get out of your head, give back to you, and then all of a sudden more positive choices will start to fall into view. So right now you're too bound up with whatever this devil energy is, and again, things will improve when you make more effort and put it into you. And like I said, sometimes when we're hanging on to an old relationship or old connection or old job or old scenario here, it draws so much energy around us that's negative that we don't actually see the right options available. And that might be part of the situation here. So I feel like you really need to fix your ideas on what makes you feel safe, secure, and not hold back from that. You know, and again, it doesn't mean that you have to literally cut someone out entirely. It might just, it's because this is more of a natural conclusion card. It's almost like they're just fading away. It's almost like it's just disappearing on its own, you know, because you are focusing more intently on what brings you stability. So anyway, that's what I have for you. Oh, actually, I should. Sorry, guys, one more. I forgot. I did pull you some cards as far as Time Machine and Willing Release. These are cards that are from the Oracle 7 deck. And this is just advice here as well. So there's just a couple more, but I'll just start with these ones first just to bring it out. Okay, so, sorry, just straightening it so you can see the cards. Yeah, like it definitely feels like with Uncharted Sea here, I mean, you're moving into some new path. You know, like I said, there's a space here that you're ready to just, you're ready. You're ready. You just, like I said, you just need to trust in yourself. Just give back to you and the rest will fall into place. Okay, so we'll get right into it here. So when I am looking at the card of Time Machine, this is all about, I'm reading from the book on this one because I don't know all these cards inside out. But the key concepts of this particular card is all about conditioning, lessons you've already learned. And again, that's where the magician comes into place. And that is exactly what this is. You've already learned a lot of the lessons. You're feeling trapped by those lessons instead of finding the map and, you know, using those lessons to your advantage. So this is where, you know, you're trying to rectify the mistakes and the hardships. So this is where you're looking to the past for answers. And in this situation, the card indicates that what can I learn from those who came before me? So it's actually reaching out to your ancestors in some way as well, looking at their patterns and how they did something and, you know, trying to either emulate them or trying to move through a challenge with knowing some kind of answer is coming through regarding their life that is going to help you, benefit you in yours. But building on what you already know, integrating that understanding and asking yourself the questions, what might I do differently? So it's practicing self-compassion. It's also about clarity that will eventually come with this particular card. So again, this is also uncomfortable old hurts and an awkwardness that you might be facing right now. Definitely, it's still reminiscent of all the cards I just read here with the tarot. You know, you can make a different choice regarding how you respond to life right now. So clearly you're searching. So every step is important and the new story is just around the corner. And then when we get to the willing release, again, this is also, it's again, you know, the Eight of Cups energy. So that's all about, sorry guys, it's all about really getting rid of an aspect of the emotional baggage. So whether this is, I didn't feel like direct cutting someone out. It feels like it's a natural conclusion. It's almost like there's so much that's lost in it that you're just willing to kind of let it go. It's like almost a level of disinterest, you know, because you're ready for something different. You know, it's just you're overwhelmed, you're burdened. And I feel like you are in that space of struggling to find the answer for sure with this card, but it doesn't mean giving up altogether or losing anything because you're still in connection with divine, and this is where there's a little level of give and take that you still have to work through to kind of work out the details and then sort of surrender when the timing is right to, you know, move into the new space. So right now I feel like you're in the experience of trying to detach from the negative, and you're still in that experience, like I said, where you're waiting for the plan to unfold and see what's ahead. So again, you're still a lot of indecision here, that Seven of Cups that was in there, but I feel like, you know, you're going to match that vibration when you pull up your own vibration. Right now, you're not seeing what is actually out there because you're too much in your head. You're too focused on all of the boundaries and all of the blockages instead of realizing what did I actually, you know, what were my talents going into a situation, or what were my qualities going into the situation? What did I love about myself when I actually connected with someone or in this business situation? What were my talents? What were the things that were good about me? And know those truths. Like, it's not, when you start kind of breaking it down, it'll be easier to, you know, remember who you are basically. So when we get to the Uncharted Sea, like I said, you're ready for something new entirely. This is where, you're stepping into the unknown. You're ready. It's the Fool card basically, but it's, ready to move into something that's you don't have a map for. It's getting out of your comfort zone. It definitely is, having to be curious enough to, walk in faith. So, this is where you have enough of a foundation that you're smart enough, you've got enough going on that you can land yourself in the hero's journey. So this is where you're starting to move or answer to a calling that you're starting to feel that you're moving into. So you're not really quite ready to move into that comfort zone or out of the comfort zone yet, but it definitely is about your well-being. And so I feel because it has such a strong connection to your soul, I feel like you are going to be able to move into this new path and explore it more wholeheartedly, because like I said, I feel like you're just tired. You're just tired of being in the same old, same old. When we get to seeing beyond, this is this card. Sorry, bringing it up here. So this one, of course, is just looking at something from a broader perspective. So you're having the vision, and you're starting to imagine the things, how they could be. Sorry, just had an interference with my phone. It was just a call coming through. So anyway, back into it. So again, when you're seeing beyond, this is where you're actually tapping into your imagination, and you're starting to see that there is a vision that's greater than what you were, currently looking at. So it's just allowing your imagination to sort of explore. And when the timing is right, you'll be able to move things into place in a more material way, where you're actually starting to see the possibilities of future for yourself. And then you can actually start to realize that, you're just projecting drama and fear into a situation, which really was just a way of you stopping procrastination. It's really just a measure of procrastinating and not allowing yourself to feel visible. So it's how you stayed invisible in the material world, because you weren't allowing yourself to take the steps. So once you take a few steps, you're going to see that there is a lot more going there. Okay, so we'll get into the final one, Roots of Abundance. Again, this is that card of, you do have a lot of things ancestrally that you can draw on. There's definitely lessons here, somebody that you're very connected to, spirit or otherwise, somebody that's actually in your sphere here that is, because again, Time Machine is right beside that card. So it's all about something that you were connected to, from maybe you learned from the past in terms of your family or otherwise, but somebody that you actually trust, and it's stabilizing you in some way, because you're anchoring yourself in that energy, because that is your story. And so you pay attention to it, and then you start to feel like you can trust, and you feel a lot more safe and secure, and then you can build around that level of security, whatever that is for you. Again, there's something you're very connected to that helps you to feel grounded and secure, and that is where the growth is going to manifest. But it's not going to be a direct line of growth. I feel like you're not going to see the way in this particular direction. It feels like you're going to thrive, but it feels like it's not going to be a specific plan A, B, C, D. It's not sequential like that. It's going to be more along the lines of, I moved into A brought me to C, but then I look back on B, and getting a little bit more information, and I jump ahead into E. So, it's that kind of energy where I feel like you're going around about something to be able to secure yourself and build on this new future. So that's why it doesn't feel like you can directly see it, because it's not really moving in a linear path. It's moving in a, take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, then you're taking maybe 4 more steps forward, and then you're kind of diving back. Like it's in some kind of roundabout way that you're gaining the knowledge, you're gaining access to this path. Anyway, that's what I have for you, and that's what's coming in for you, Pisces. I'll do some other reads for you in the next little bit, but that's what September looks like for you, and good luck. Keep moving forward.